McKellar with a 21.73. Waylon Smith with a 29.17. 3 left to qualify in the Rookie A. Run what you brung in UAS. I need you in grid lane 1. You are next on the speedway. Run what you brung in UAS. I need you in grid 1. Super heavy drivers to grid 2. Super heavy drivers, I need you in grid 2, please. Gannon Ketterman will be your pole sitter in the Rookie A with a 17.234. Zayden Cunningham second with a 17.307. Rhett McPherson third. Cade McPherson fourth. Maligator fifth. Landry McKellar sixth. Waylon Smith seventh. Super heavy drivers, I need you in grid lane 2. Clone super heavy to grid lane 2. Junior 1 green to grid lane 1. Junior 1 green to grid lane 1. Clone super heavy, I need you in grid lane 2. You are after the run what you brung in UAS. Let's go, guys. Your current pole sitter in the run what you brung UAS is the 49 of Ricky Gay with a 14.375. Mike Nicosia second. Hoppy Hoskinson third. Super heavy clones, I need you in grid lane 2. Clones super heavy, get them in grid lane 2. You are coming onto the speedway for qualifying. Junior 1 green to lane 1. Junior 1 green plate lane 1. Ricky Gay in the 49 machine will be your pole sitter for the run what you brung UAS with a 14.375. Sammy Rosa second. Ed Trifles third. Mick Nicosia fourth. Hoppy Hoskinson fifth. Cliff Sanders sixth. All right, super heavy drivers, if you want to qualify, let's get them in the grid. Super heavy drivers, if you want to qualify, let's get them in the grid. If not, we can start you as you are on the paper. Let's go, super heavy drivers. Get them in the grid. You're supposed to be on the speedway now to qualify, and we don't have anybody in the grid. Super heavy, get them in there and sit them down. Junior 1 green, lane 1. Junior 1 green, lane 1. Junior 1 green plate to grid lane 1. Junior 1 green plate to grid lane 1. Junior stock, start making your way to the back of grid lane 2. Junior stock, start making your way to the back of grid lane 2. Justin McDonald is your current pole sitter with a 14.974. Wendell Chavis second with a 15.072. Ryan Hevner in third with a 15.137. Eric Simpson fourth. Lamar Rozier fifth. Aiden Haney sixth. Donald Hickok seventh. Cameron Pack eighth. Green plate, I need you in grid lane 1. You are next on the speedway. Junior 1 green plate in the grid lane 1. Junior stock drivers to grid lane 2. Junior stock drivers to grid lane 2. Donald is still your current pole sitter. Tim O'Connor second with a 15.010, pushing Chavis into that third spot. Hevner now fourth. Brad Scruggs puts it in that fourth spot with a 15.099. Hevner in fifth thus far. Aaron Coker seventh. Can we get a change on the final lap? Your final five in the Super Heavy is Justin McDonald, Tim O'Connor, Wendell Chavis, Brad Scruggs, Ryan Hevner. Case and Leopard, we need you in the grid. Case and Leopard, they need you in the grid. On the pole thus far in the junior green, qualifying Jamie Green with a 15.742. Brantley Arrowwood second with a 16.529. Kinsley Smith third with an 18.710. stock drivers. Junior stock drivers, you should be in grid lane 2. I don't see any action. Let's go, junior stock drivers. Get them in lane 2. Masters 35 plus, let's get them to lane 1, folks. Masters 35 plus to lane 1. Junior stock, I need you in grid lane 2, guys. Frank Adams will be your pole sitter in the Junior 1 green with a 15.578. Jamie Green second. Brantley Arrowwood third. Lane McPherson fourth with a 16.654. Kaysen Leopard and Kinsley Smith round out the field. Let's go, junior stock. Hanging out at the back of the grid is not going to help you. We need you in the grid. Let's go, junior stock. Sit them down in the grid. Masters 35 plus to grid lane 1. Masters 35 plus to grid lane 1. Let's go, Masters. Let's get them over to the grid and get them sit down in lane 1. Cannon Todd, if you're not in that grid, you're going to be left and lose your fastest lap. Cannon Todd, get to the grid. Masters 35 plus, I need you in grid lane 1, guys. Masters 35 plus. I see nothing happening in the grid. Masters 35 plus, get him in grid lane 1, guys. $40B is your current pole sitter in the junior stock with a 14.478. Clay Bellamy in second with a 14.538. Rylan Gray third with a 14.662. Emily Smith fourth currently with a 14.715. Henley Sanford rounds up your top 5 with a 14.843. We then have Colton Jordan, Andrew Orr, and Hudson Barrett. Your top 5 remains Kyler Bronson, Clay Bellamy, Aiden Massengill in third with a 14.574. Rylan Gray fourth with a 14.662. Emily Smith in that 5th spot. Masters 35 plus, get him in grid 1. Masters, get him in grid lane 1, guys. Masters 35 plus to grid lane 1. Rookie B drivers to grid lane 2. Rookie B drivers, grid lane 2. Kyler Bronson still your current pole sitter in the junior stock with a 14.478. Clay Bellamy in second with a 14.538. Braden Chavis puts it in that third spot with a 14.562. Aiden Massengill fourth with a 14.574. Rylan Gray in fifth with a 14.662. Still 4 left to qualify in this group. Masters 35 plus, I need you in grid lane 1. Masters 35 plus to grid lane 1. Rookie B drivers, I need you in grid lane 2. Rookie B drivers, grid lane 2. Willis puts it up front in that 100 machine with a 14.462. Bronson will be now second. Clay Bellamy third. Foster Smithies in fourth. Braden Chavis fifth. Aiden Massengill sixth. Spanky Williamson seventh. Rylan Gray eighth. Emily Smith ninth. Colin Stewart 10th. That is your top 10 for the junior stock field. Rookie B, we need you in grid B. Rookie B drivers, grid lane 2. Stock heavy drivers to grid lane 1. Stock heavy drivers, you're needed in grid lane 1. Once again, Rookie B to grid 2. Stock heavy to grid lane 1. No line, no wait at the concession stand. If you folks are hungry or thirsty while we're doing this qualifying, concession is cooking it up for you down there. They have cheeseburgers, hamburgers, hot wings, fresh pulled pork sandwiches, plenty of good candy to choose from, water, sweet tea, Powerade, Coca-Cola products, and I believe even Mountain Dew. So if you are hungry or thirsty, go visit the folks at the concession stand. Let them hook you up with some good food and drink. 89.3 FM, that is the broadcast station here at Crossroads Motorplex. If you have trouble hearing us on the PA, 89.3 FM on your radio dial. Masters 35 plus on the pole thus far is Sam Ketterman with a 15.369. Nick Kirkus second. Tony Bardron third. Randy Moon puts it on the pole in that 64 machine with a 15.349. Sam Ketterman second with a 15.369. Nick Kirkus in third with a 15.406. Jeff Haney in fourth with a 15.804. Tony Bardron fifth. Don Goff sixth. Rookie B drivers, you should be in grid lane 2 as you are next on the speedway. Stock heavy, clone stock heavy drivers, I need you in grid lane 1. Clone stock heavy drivers, get them in grid lane 1. I see no action over there, so let's get them over there. Clone stock heavy drivers. Steven Adams in the 41 machine is now your pole sitter for the Masters 35 Plus with a 14.650. Stock heavy drivers, I need you in grid lane 1. Stock heavy drivers, get them in grid lane 1, guys. Junior 2 purple to grid lane 2. Junior 2 purple to grid lane 2. Once again, stock heavy drivers, you're next on the speedway. I need you in grid lane 1. Thus far in the Rookie B on the pole is the 100 of Rhett McPherson with a 16.432. Zayden Cunningham second with a 16.495. Cade McPherson third with a 17.632. Malligator fourth with a 17.920. Rookie B will be Rhett McPherson, Zayden Cunningham, Gannon Ketterman, Cade McPherson, Mally Gator, Landry McKellar, and Waylon Smith. Next class to qualify will be the stock heavy class. Downtown, Dylan Brown puts it on the pole in the 16 machine with a 14.391. Tommy Bowder in second with the 119 with a 14.421. Timothy Holmes third with a 14.481. Doug Sturley fourth. Preston Arbogast fifth. T-Bone Adams sixth. Lane Rory seventh. Cody Ward eighth thus far. Junior 2 purple, I need you in the grid lane 2. Junior 2 purple to grid lane 2. Once again, Junior 2 purple, I need you in grid lane 2. Limited 390 warm up. Limited 390 warm up. Get them ready, guys. Limited 390 warm up. Get them ready. Dylan Brown is still your current pole sitter with a 14.391. Chase Williamson puts it in second with a 14.408. Tommy Bowder third. Timothy Holmes fourth. Doug Sturley rounds up your five thus far. Once again, Junior 2 purple, we need you in grid lane 2. Junior 2 purple to grid lane 2. Limited 390 warm up. Limited 390 warm up. Get them ready. Cameron Lambert puts it in that 5th spot with a 14.584. It is still the 16 of Brown, 8.11 of Williamson, 119 of Botter, 05 of Holmes, 18 of Lambert, 86 of Sterling in 6th, Hunter Adams 7th, Bradley Carter 8th, Zach Williams 9th, Preston Arbogast, your top 10 thus far in the stock heavy group. 27 drivers in this group of the stock heavies. Junior 2 purple, we need you in grid lane 2. Junior 2 purple drivers, grid lane 2. Limited 390 warm-up, guys. Get them ready. Only 7 drivers left to qualify for this stock heavy group. Junior 2 purple, you should be in grid 2 sitting down ready to go. Junior 2 purple, you should be sitting down ready to go. Limited 390 warm up to grid lane 1. Limited 390 warm up, grid 1. Your stock heavy lineup will be as follows. Dylan Brown on the pole, Chase Williamson second, Tommy Botter in third, Timothy Holmes fourth, Brayson Riddle fifth, Steven Adams sixth, Cameron Lambert seventh, Jesse Riggins eighth, Matthew Beeman ninth, Doug Sterling 10th, Hunter Adams 11th, Carson Hallman, Bradley Carter, Zach Williams, Cole Johnson is 12 through 15, Preston Arbogast, Garrett Pick, Braden Donaldson, T-Bone Adams, Caden Olson, 15 through 20, Lane Rory 21st, Caleb Hicks 22nd, Cody Ward 23rd, Chase Stewart 24th, Steve Rich 25th, Hayden Starks 26th, Brock Brewer 27th. Junior 2 purple is going to be the next on the speedway to qualify. Limited 390 warm-up. We need you in grid lane 1. Limited 390 warm-up. I need you in grid lane 1. Pro Junior 1 to grid lane 2. Pro Junior 1 to grid lane 2. Once again, limited 390 warm-up, grid lane 1. Pro Junior 1 to grid lane 2. Jeremy Couvon puts it on the pole with a 14.987. EJ Rich second. Hayden Duncan third. Kason Leopard fourth. EJ Rich qualified in that second spot with a 15.046, with Hayden Duncan third on a 15.190. Kason Leopard fourth with a 15.695. The 14.987 is the time to beat to take over that top spot. Limited 390 warm-up. I need you in grid lane 1. Limited 390 warm-up to grid lane 1. Pro Junior 1, you're needed in grid lane 2. Pro Junior 1 to grid lane 2. Braden Chavis is now your current pole sitter with a 14.892. So that'll be Braden Chavis on the pole with a 14.754. Gage Steiner second with a 14.912. Jeremy Couvin in that third spot with a 14.987. EJ Rich fourth. Hayden Duncan fifth. Cruz Lopez qualifies sixth with a 15.365. Tough Kason seventh with a 15.567. Kason Leopard is going to be your eighth with a 15.695. Limited 390 warm-up. We need you in grid lane 1. Limited 390 warm-up. Grid lane 1. Pro Junior 1 to grid lane 2. While we're giving these guys just a couple of moments to get to the grid, don't forget, here in Jasper, Florida, on February the 28th, will be some old school Saturday night racing. Just like the olden days, you show up, we have fun on the speedway. That's here February 28th for the old school Saturday night. Keep an eye on the Facebook page with all the details. March 7th will be another old school Saturday night here. March 14th will be Super 8 number 3, or excuse me, yeah, number 3. Super 8 number 3 on March 14th. A lot of action going on here, Crossroads Motorplex, for the next couple of months, so make sure you get on that Facebook page and follow us. The Kimball Memorial will be March 28th. That is a big show here. They usually bring a band. I believe the other day I seen some free dinners that they'll be doing that Friday night as well, thanks to their sponsors. So that is the Jason Kimball Memorial, March 28th here in Jasper, Florida. Concession stand is cooking it up for you down there. They do have a little bit of line, but they got some great food. Go get yourself a pulled pork sandwich, something cold to drink, sweet tea, Coca-Cola, bottles of water, Powerade, Sprite. They also have snow cones, I believe, going on down there as well. So if you kids like the snow cones, they have that for you as well at the concession. Mary is still selling event t-shirts and Crossroads Motorplex swag. You can get that over there at our parts house located beside the old scale house off of turn 1. That is Mary and the event t-shirts and Crossroads Motorplex swag. Go get yourself some cool t-shirts that she has down there. Big A's Carts and Parts is still on the ground serving all your karting needs. That is Big A's Carts and Parts located beside the grid area. He can get you hooked up with whatever you need, and if he don't got it, I'm sure he can get it for you. Go see Big A. Limited 390 warm-up. We need you in grid lane 1. Limited 390 warm-up. We need you in grid lane 1. Pro Junior 1 drivers, we need you in grid lane 2. Pro Junior 1 drivers to grid lane 2. Alrighty, limited 390 warm up. We need you in the grid. Limited 390 warm up. Limited 390 warm up. We need you in grid lane 1. We gave you guys about 10 minutes, so we need you there once again. Limited 390 warm up. We need you in the grid lane 1. Pro Junior 1 to grid lane 2. Limited 390 warm-up. Limited 390 warm-up. I need you in grid lane 1, guys. We're getting ready for qualifying. Limited 390 warm-up. I need you in grid lane 1 for qualifying. Pro Junior 1 to grid lane 2. Pro Junior 1 to grid lane 2. Limited 390 warm-up. Limited 390 warm-up. Get him in the grid, lane 1. Let's go. Limited 390 warm-up. Get him in the grid, lane 1. When we get our first group, we will go to qualifying. Limited 390 warm-up. When we get our first group, we will go to qualifying. You need to be there. Pro Junior 1 to grid lane 2. Pro Junior 1 to grid lane 2. On the pole thus far in the limited 390 warm-up will be the 53 of Carson Hallman with a 14.168. Cole Johnson second. Brayson Riddle third. Carson Hallman is still your current pole sitter with that 14.168. Johnson second. Brayson Riddle third. Dylan Brown fourth with a 14.316. Michael Tommy Botter puts it on the pole with a 14.076. Carson Hallman now in second. Johnson third. Brayson Riddle fourth. Hunter Adams now fifth with a 14.303. Pushing Brown into sixth. Trocki seventh. Holmes eighth. Matthew Beeman ninth. Riggins now your top 10. Pro Junior 1, you're needed in grid lane 2. Pro Junior 1, grid lane 2. Pro Junior Stock, the grid lane 1. Pro Junior Stock, we need you in grid lane 1. Sturley puts it in second with a 14.142. We have the 119 of Bowder in on the pole. Sturley second. Hallman third. Cole Johnson fourth. Chase Meredith puts it in that fifth spot with a 14.216. Brayson Riddle seventh. Sixth. Hunter Adams seventh. Dylan Brown eighth. Bryson Duncan ninth. Michael Trocki 10th. Timothy Holmes, Matthew Beeman, Bradley Carter, Jesse Riggins, and Cole Perkle is your 10 through 15. Chase Williamson puts it on the pole with a 13.926. Bowder second with a 14.076. Adams third. Sturley fourth. Hallman fifth. Johnson sixth. Lawson Bryant puts it in seventh. Chase Meredith eighth. Brayson Riddle ninth. Hunter Adams rounding up your top 10, and then limited 390 warm-up. Pro Junior Stock drivers, we need you in grid lane 1. Pro Junior Stock to grid lane 1. Super Heavy limited warm-up to grid lane 2. Super Heavy limited warm-up to grid lane 2. Once again, Pro Junior Stock, I need you in grid lane 1. Pro Junior Stock to grid lane 1. Super Heavy limited warm-up grid lane 2. Jamie Green, your current pole sitter with a 15.079. Frank Adams second with a 15.486. Kason Leopard third with a 15.920. All right, Pro Junior Stock drivers, if you're not in that grid, you're going to get left. Let's go, Pro Junior Stock. We need you in grid lane 1, guys. We had a break as well. Pro Junior Stock, I need you in grid lane 1. Once again, Pro Junior Stock, grid lane 1. Let's go, guys. We've had a break, and we need you there. Pro Junior Stock to grid lane 1. Super Heavy limited warm-up to grid lane 2. Super Heavy limited warm-up to grid lane 2, guys. It'll be Jamie Green on the pole with that 15.079. Lane McPherson second with a 15.306. Brantley Arrowwood third. Frank Adams fourth. Kinsley Smith fifth. Kason Leopard sixth. All right, Pro Junior stock, let's go, guys. 59 Cannon Todd, we need you in the grid to qualify. Pro Junior stock, you should have been sitting in that grid. Lane 1, ready to go. Super Heavy Limited warm-up, we need you in grid lane 2. Super Heavy Limited warm-up to grid lane 2. No Pro, get them ready, guys. No Pro, get them ready. You will be at the back of grid lane 1. Super Heavy Limited warm-up to grid lane 2. No Pro, start making your way to the back of grid lane 1. Foster Smithies is your current pole sitter with a 14.254. Emily Smith in the 29 machine so far second. Foster Smithies on the pole with a 14.254. Emily Smith second with a 14.349. Colin Stewart in third with a 14.401. Caden Dacus in fourth with a 14.431. Tucker Polachek fifth with a 14.432 thus far. That is your top 5. Declan Willis in second with a 14.310. Spanky Williamson in third with a 14.337. Emily Smith fourth. Colton Jordan in fifth. Braden Chavis will be your pole sitter with a 14.120. Foster Smithies in second. Declan Willis in third. Spanky Williamson fourth. Rylan Gray fifth. Emily Smith sixth. Colton Jordan seventh. Henley Sanford eighth. Colin Stewart ninth. Caden Dacus 10th. Tucker Polachek 11th. Kyla Bronson 12th. Aiden Massengill 13th. Clay Bellamy will start 14th. Camden Harp 15th, Cannon Todd 16th, Hudson Barrett 17th, Andrew Orr 18th, Connor Cameron will start 19th. That is your Pro Junior Stock group. Super Heavy Limited warm-up is next on the Speedway. We need you guys over there. Darren Coker is your current pole sitter of the Super Heavy Limited warm-up with a 14.238. Coltrane Palmer second. Preston Sparks third. Don Hickox fourth with a 15.025. No pro drivers. I need you in grid lane 1. No pro drivers to grid lane 1, guys. Once again, no Pro 375, no Pro 375. I need you in the grid. No Pro 375 to grid lane 1. Junior limited warm-up. Lane 2. Junior limited warm-up to lane 2. Darren Coker still your current pole sitter. Coltrane Palmer still second. Justin McDonald puts it in third with a 14.305. Sparks fourth. Tim O'Connor in that fifth spot with a 14.383. Tony Sampson in sixth with a 14.601. Don Hickok seventh with a 15.025. We have one that we need a cranker for on the back straightaway. We're going to finish that qualifying as soon as we get that one fired up. Once again, no pro drivers, grid lane 1. No pro drivers, grid lane 1. Junior limited warm-up to grid lane 2. Junior limited warm-up to grid lane 2. Double zero of Coker still on the pole. 25 of Palmer still second. Justin McDonald third. Preston Sparks fourth. Tim O'Connor fifth. Ryan Hebner sixth. Wendell Chavis qualifies seventh. Tony Sampson eighth. Brad Scruggs ninth. And Don Hickok's your top 10 thus far. And it remains the same. Darren Coker is your pole sitter. Coltrane Palmer second. Justin McDonald third. Preston Sparks fourth. Tim O'Connor fifth. Ryan Hebner sixth. Wendell Chavis seventh. Eric Simpson eighth. Tony Sanson ninth. Brad Scruggs 10th. And 11th, Mason Ketterman 12th. Joseph Beasley. Donald Hickox 13th. Jimmy Flynn 14th. Chris Jewell 15th, Colton Cummings 16th, Ty Bennett 17th. No Pro will be the next class on the Speedway to qualify. Junior Limited warm-up, grid lane 2. Junior Limited warm-up. Get them in grid lane 2, guys. Once again, Junior Limited warm-up. Let's get them in grid lane 2. You will be after the No Pro. Sumo 450, get them in grid lane 1. Sumo 450 to grid lane 1, guys. No line, no wait at the concession stand. If you folks are hungry or thirsty, now is your time to sneak on up there and get yourself something good to eat or drink. They have plenty of good food, cold drinks down at the concession stand. Go get yourself something good to eat or drink. Mary is over in our parts house selling event t-shirts for the weekend. That is located beside the old scale house off of turn 1. Mary is in there selling the second annual Kathy Luster Memorial t-shirts. She also has some Crossroads Motorplex swag in there and maybe even some from the World 100 this previous year. Go see Mary. She can get you hooked up with event t-shirts. Big A still hooking you up with those karting needs over there beside the grid. That is Big A's Karts and Parts. You need anything for those karts, make sure you make your way down to see Big A at Big A's Karts and Parts. Junior limited warm-up. We need you in grid lane 2. Junior limited warm-up. You should be in grid lane 2. You're next on the speedway. Sumo 450 to grid lane 1. Sumo 450 to grid lane 1. Alrighty, folks, if you're having trouble with MRP, we are also live on Race Monitor. We are also live on Race Monitor, folks. Alrighty, folks, while they're working on the system up here, we need the Sumo drivers, grid lane 1. Sumo drivers to grid lane 1. Jimmy Knowles, stock up here into grid lane 2. Jimmy Knowles, stock up here into grid lane 2. Concession is cooking it up for you down there. Go down there and get yourself something good to eat or drink. They have hamburgers, cheeseburgers, hot dogs, foot-long corn dogs, fresh pulled pork sandwiches, nachos and cheese. They have pulled pork nachos, pulled pork fries. Go down and get yourself something good to eat or drink at the concession stand. Once again, folks, if you're starting to have technical difficulties with any app that we have, you can also go on your radio station 89.3 FM. Once again, that is 89.3 FM on your radio dial to hear all the announcements today at Crossroads Motorplex. Go get yourself an event t-shirt from Mary. She is selling them down at our home parts store located beside the old scale house off of turn 1. Mary does have event t-shirts and some Crossroads Motorplex swag. Go get yourself an event t-shirt. They are real nice. Our vendor done a real good job at those t-shirts this year, so go check them out and get yourself one down at the parts house with Mary. Your current pole sitter for the Junior Limited warm-up, 15F of Foster Smithies with a 14.038. Dylan Wise second with a 14.0760. Camden Harp with a 14.072. Declan Willis with a 14.538. .94B of Braden Chavis is your new current pole sitter with a 13.888. Foster Smithy second with a 14.038. Dylan Wise third with a 14.060. Camden Harp fourth. Aiden Massengill fifth. Braden Chavis is your pole sitter with a 13.888. Kyler Bronson second with a 14.009. Foster Smithies with a 14.038. Camden Harp, Dylan Wise, your top five. All right, Jimmy Knowles, stock appearing. We need you in grid lane 2. Jimmy Knowles, stock appearing. We need you in grid lane 2, guys. Pro Junior 2 to grid lane 1. Pro Junior 2, grid lane 1. Once again, Jimmy Knowles, stock appearing. Grid lane 2. You're next on the speedway to qualify. Pro Junior 2, you're needed in grid lane 1. Pro Junior 2 to grid lane 1. Pro Super Heavy Limited to grid lane 2. Pro Super Heavy Limited to grid lane 2. Hunter Adams is currently your pole sitter in the Jimmy Knowles stock appearing with a 13.852. Preston Sparks second with a 13.853. Cole Perkle third with a 14.206. Sawyer Hines fourth with a 14.399. Hunter Adams is still your current pole sitter. Preston Sparks second. Dylan Brown third with a 13.900. Cole Perkle fourth. Sawyer Hines fifth. Veronica Flynn sixth. Michael Wainwright seventh. Hunter Adams is still your current pole sitter with Preston Sparks second, Brown third, Riddle fourth, Trockey fifth, Cole Perkle sixth, Sawyer Hines seventh, Veronica Flynn eighth, Michael Wainwright rounds up your 9 thus far. Still several left to qualify. Still on the pole, Preston Sparks second, Dylan Brown third, Chase Williamson up in that fourth spot, Brayson Riddle fifth, Michael Trockey sixth, Kasinger seventh, Cole Perkle eighth, Jesse Riggins ninth, Sawyer Hines 10th thus far. Pro Junior 2, you should be in grid 1. You are the next class to qualify. Pro Junior 2 to grid lane 1. Pro Junior 2, you should be in grid lane 1. You are next on the speedway. Pro Super Heavy Limited to grid lane 2. Pro Super Heavy Limited to grid lane 2. 119 on the pole, the 86X. Now the pole sitter has changed. Your new pole sitter is the number 2 of Chase Meredith. 119 second, 86X third, 33 fourth, 202 fifth. Meredith will be your pole sitter here in the Jimmy Nolles stock up here, and Tommy Botter in second, Doug Sturley third, Cole Johnson fourth, Hunter Adams fifth, Preston Spark sixth, Hallman seventh, Dylan Brown eighth, Bryson Duncan ninth, Chase Williamson 10th, Ricky Hill 11th, Brayson Riddle 12th, Michael Trockey 13th, Kaysen Gurr 14th, Cole Perkle 15th, Caleb Hicks 16th, Jesse Riggin 17th, Sawyer Hines 18th, Steve Rich 19th, Preston Arbogast 20th, Veronica Flynn 21st, Michael Wainwright 22nd, Briggs Loper 23rd, Caden Johnson 24th, Daniel Royals 25th, and Preston Streetman 26th. Pro Junior 2, you should be in that grid sitting down. You're coming on to the speedway to qualify. Pro Super Heavy Limited, grid lane 2. Pro Super Heavy Limited, I need you in grid lane 2. You are next to qualify. Let's get them over there. Pro Super Heavy Limited, grid lane 2. Junior Limited to grid lane 1. Junior Limited drivers to grid lane 1, please. Jeremy Couvon is now your current pole sitter with a 14.693. EJ Rich second with a 14.749. Kaysen Leopard third. Tough Kaysen currently fourth. Jeremy Couvon still your pole sitter. EJ Rich second. Gage Steiner in third with a 14.760. Hayden Duncan fourth with a 14.845. Lane McPherson fifth with a 14.938. Cruz Lopez sixth with a 15.073. Kaysen Leopard, tough Kaysen. Braden Chavis is your final on the speedway to qualify. Pro Super Heavy Limited, if you're not in grid lane 2, you're going to get left. Pro Super Heavy Limited, if you're not in grid 2, you will be left. Junior Limited to grid lane 1. Junior Limited drivers, grid lane 1. Your final pole sitter is going to be the 94B of Braden Chavis with a 14.533. Jeremy Couvon in second. EJ Rich third. Gage Steiner fourth. Hayden Duncan fifth. Lane McPherson sixth. Cruz Lopez seventh. Kaysen Leopard eighth. Tough Kaysen ninth. Pro Super Heavy Limited, you're on a 90-second rule. Pro Super Heavy Limited, you are now on a 90-second time limit. If you do not get to that grid and sit down, you will be left. Pro Super Heavy Limited, you are on a 90-second time limit. Pro Super Heavy Limited, get them over there, guys. Let's go. When we get the first group, we are qualifying. Pro Super Heavy Limited, get them over there, guys. Limited drivers to grid 1. Junior Limited 12 to 15. Get them in grid lane 1, guys. Junior Limited 12 to 15. Let's get them in grid lane 1, guys. Aaron Coker will be your pole sitter with a 14.289. Coltrane Palmer second with a 14.357. Preston Sparks third. Ryan Hefner fourth. Tim O'Connor fifth. Justin McDonald sixth. Wendell Shava seventh. Brad Scruggs eighth. Tony Sampson ninth. Eric Simpson 10th. Ty Bennett 11th. Jimmy Flynn 12th. Donald Hickox 13th. Chris Jewell 14th. Joseph Beasley 15th. Colton Cummings 16th. The last to qualify is the number 2 of Mason Ketterman. Junior Limited, you should be in grid 1, ready to go. Junior Limited, you should be in grid lane 1, ready to go. Junior Pro 8 to 11, grid lane 2. Junior Pro 8 to 11, grid lane 2. Once again, Pro Limited 12 to 15, grid lane 1. You're next to qualify. Junior Pro 8 to 11, grid lane 2. Aiden Massengill, your current pole sitter with a 14.045. Henley Sanford with a 14.139. Caden Dacus in third with a 14.180. Collar Bronson fourth. Tucker Polachek fifth currently. Braden Chavis, your pole sitter currently with a 13.823. Clay Bellamy second with a 13.841. Camden Harp third with a 13.991. Massengill fourth, Sanford fifth, Cannon Todd sixth, Dacus seventh, Bronson eighth, Polachek ninth, Colin Stewart 10th, Dylan Wise 11th, Andrew Ort 12th. 4 drivers left to qualify in the Junior Limited 12 to 15. Pro 8 to 11, you should be in that grid, lane 2, ready to go. Junior Pro 8 to 11, grid lane 2. You are the next on the speedway to qualify. Kathy Luster Memorial Racers, grid lane 1. Kathy Luster Memorial Racers, grid lane 1. Foster Smithies puts it in that second spot with a 13.840. Braden Chavis, Smithies, Bellamy, Hudson Barrett puts it in fourth with a 13.910. Camden Harp fifth, Massengill sixth, Sanford seventh, Cannon Todd eighth, Dacus ninth, Williamson 10th, Bronson 11th, Polachek 12th, Declan Willis 13th, Colin Stewart 14th, Dylan Wise qualifies 15th, Andrew Ort will be your 16th in the Junior Limited 12 to 15. Junior Pro 8 to 11, guys. We need you there in that grid. You're getting ready to qualify. Junior Pro 8 to 11, you need to be in that grid. You are coming on to the speedway. Kathy Luster Memorial Drivers, I need you in grid lane 1. Kathy Luster Memorial Drivers to grid lane 1, guys. Jeremy Couvon, Kason Leopard, they're waiting on you in the grid. Frank Adams is your current pole sitter with a 15.243. Brantley Airwood second with a 15.344. Leopard in that third spot. 3 on the speedway left to qualify. Jamie Green quick to that top spot with a 15.225. Airwood in that third spot with a 15.344. Jamie Green is going to be your pole sitter with a 15.199. Adams second, Arrowwood third, Case and Leopard fourth, Lane McPherson fifth, and Jeremy Couvon in sixth. Kathy Luster Memorial Qualifiers. I need you in the grid, guys. Kathy Luster Memorial Qualifiers. I need every one of you drivers in the grid, please. Alrighty, guys, all the Kathy Luster Memorial drivers, I need you in the grid. Kathy Luster Memorial drivers, I need each and every one of you in the grid for qualifying. Kathy Luster Memorial drivers, let's get them in the grid for qualifying. We've got 27 of you guys. We need all 27 in the grid. Don't forget about those event t-shirts, folks. Mary is still selling event t-shirts over at our parts house located beside the old scale house off of turn 1. She does have event t-shirts and Crossroads Motorplex shirts. Go see Mary and get hooked up. Mr. Big A is still at the parts house taking care of those karting needs. If you need anything for those karts, make sure you go see Big A's Karts and Parts. We got a good group of folks here today. We would like to thank everybody for coming out to the second annual Kathy Luster Memorial Race. A good crowd, beautiful weather thus far, so we appreciate each and every one of you for being here and making this possible. Once again, Kathy Luster Memorial Racers, we need you in the grid. Kathy Luster Memorial Racers, to the grid, guys. Alrighty, this is your 1 minute warning. Kathy Luster Memorial drivers, I need you in the grid. Kathy Luster Memorial drivers, I need each of you guys in the grid for qualifying. Let's get them over there, guys. You have 1 minute. Let's get them in the grid. Alrighty, guys, let's go. Kathy Luster Memorial Racers, we're getting ready to fire up what we have. Get them in the grid, guys. Kathy Luster Memorial Racers, we're getting ready to fire what we have. Let's go, guys. Your current pole sitter in the Kathy Lester Memorial with a 13.915, Michael Trockey. In second so far with a 13.979, Dylan Brown. Timothy Holmes third, Lawson Bryant fourth, Kirkus fifth, Hunter Adams sixth, Briggs Loper seventh, Colton Cummings currently eighth. Still several left to qualify here for the Kathy Lester Memorial. Trockey is still your current pole sitter. Dylan Brown second, Timothy Holmes third, Sturley fourth, Chase Meredith fifth. Beeman, Chastain, Johnson, and Perkle on the speedway now qualifying. Cole Johnson quickly puts it in that second spot with a 13.965. Michael Trockey still holds on to that top spot with a 13.915. Johnson second, Brown third, Holmes fourth, Sturley currently fifth, Chase Meredith sixth, Lawson Bryant currently seventh, Matthew Beeman eighth, Cole Perkle ninth, Nick Kirkus 10th. Williamson, Hallman, Adams, and Bowder is on the speedway now to qualify. Bowder quickly in that second spot, but Chase Williamson takes it to the front with a 13.837. Trockey second. Botter currently third. Cole Johnson fourth. Dylan Brown fifth. Chase Williamson with a 13.837. Michael Trockey second with a 13.915. Botter with a 13.955 in that third spot. Cole Johnson fourth. Dylan Brown fifth. Holmes in sixth. Doug Sturley seventh. Meredith eighth. Carson Hallman puts it in ninth. Steven Adams in 10th. Your top five remains the same. Williamson, Trockey, Botter, and Johnson, and Dylan Brown. Holmes 6th, Sturley 7th, Riggins 8th, Meredith 9th, Bradley Carter qualifies in that 10th spot. Alrighty, folks, that wraps up the qualifying for today's events. We appreciate all the cooperation. We've got 333 entries strong here today at Crossroads Motorplex for the Kathy Luster Memorial. We appreciate everybody getting to the grid and qualifying. We will have a driver's meeting at 3:30, folks. There will be a driver's meeting at 3:30 here under the score tower. Once again, there will be a driver's meeting at 3:30 here under the scoring tower. We will need each and every driver here for that driver's meeting. If you're not here, there's no complaint. The complaint department will be closed, so make sure each and every driver is here for the drivers meeting at 3:30, guys. Concession stand is moving along over there. If you are hungry or thirsty, take this moment and get yourself something good to eat or drink. Get refreshed before tonight's events. They have hamburgers, cheeseburgers, hot dogs, foot-long corn dogs, fresh pulled pork sandwiches, the best pickles you can possibly buy right there at the concession stand. Go see our friends down there and get yourselves hooked up with something good to eat or drink. Anything for those carts, go on over and see Big A's Carts and Parts. He can get you taken care of. He's just off the entrance of the grid, so go see Big A's Carts and Parts and get what you need for those carts tonight. We do have Sports Action TV on the grounds that is going to be streaming live all evening through each and every event. If you have family or friends who couldn't make it, they can go on Sports Action TV and get all the action here tonight. They're available on Apple TV, Android, Fire TV, Roku TV, Web Player, YouTube. Go and check out Sports Action TV for all the live coverage today. Next race here